Hey everybody! Hope everybody's doing great. I just did this quick stream. I want to make sure that I didn't invite too many people. Just wanted to talk to John, my friend Jonathan Ader. He is in Germany right now traveling, but we were talking about having like a quick chat and talk about several things. One of the things is that the people that you meet when you travel, it's cool that um, there's several groups all over the world, and it's cool when you have to travel for work that you go and meet them. It would be very nice to do those things, and not many people talk about those things. Uh, I remember when I used to travel for work. I tried to coordinate with people that were in those different places to see if we can at least get together, and it's pretty cool. It's very nice. You get to meet people, face to face, have a quick chat. I remember I also went down to Australia once a few years ago, and I met all the Australia folks. They're amazing people. We actually had a meeting and in their place. So yeah, it's very nice, and I want to hear about Jonathan. He went recently, I think, to Israel and meet the user group, the Apple II group, retro group in Israel. So that's the thing. Also, I traveled a little bit last year, and I met a couple of the guys that I in Europe, a couple of the guys that I talk a lot with. My friend Jose Luis, he's from Spain. He actually drove to France to meet me, so that was very cool. So that's the kind of things that I like to talk. I don't know if John's gonna be able to join because he's in Germany. So hopefully he'll get in and we can chat about that. And later I am going to show some goodies. I'm going to show a little bit of the process that it takes to do these things, and a little bit of what it takes to create and all the iterations that you got to work on. And it's not easy. It's really when people think about doing these projects, they may not understand that sometimes it's really complicated to do these things. But anyway, let me know in the comments what do you think, and if you guys have been meeting people when you travel, other than specifically for that, like BCF, Kansas Fest. All those are very cool to meet your friends, your online friends. But also when you have to travel for work or visit family, maybe you can combine it and meet cool people. So, oh, one, yeah, 1 a.m. in Central Europe. So, hopefully Jonathan is able to join. But yeah, we're gonna have to do it short because he has to go to sleep, and I'm sure he has to work tomorrow. So we don't want him to be late to his meetings and work. So anyway, in the meantime, I'm gonna start talking about this project because I want people to know a little bit about that. The background is a few years ago, somebody in Apple Fritter, I think it was, they actually created a floppy emulator, and this is the thing. Let's start with that. The floppy emulator is this little device. It's a little let me check this out. It's a small. Oh, I took out the screen. It's a small device that has a little screen over here, and you connect it to your hard drive, and then you put an SD card over here. You connect it to your Apple II or Macintosh. So the cool thing about this device is that it works on Macintosh, classic Macs, and Apple II. Oh, John's here. Let's add him. Hey, John.
Hello, Hav. How are you, man?
Great. And you?
Fantastic. It's a little early or late, however you want to look at it.
Yeah, exactly. I heard it. So yeah, well, let's try to do it kind of short, not very short, but short enough so you can go back to to sleep in a little bit. So anyway, I was talking to the people about this program is more about, how you can combine traveling and meeting people overseas in other countries, in other states. I was talking about that when I was traveling also for work. I used to go and meet people um, in other place. So tell us about how you've been, if you've
Well,
been doing that.
yeah. Well, why don't I start at the beginning of the year? It's been quite a year so far. But in January, I was in Amsterdam,
Uh-huh.
and there's a guy named Nick. Does everybody? I don't know if everybody knows Nick, but Nick is a interesting man
Yeah.
who has teamed up with Anton Vigneault in
Hmm.
France,
Yeah.
and Nick created the Apple Squeezer. So for those of you who don't know the Apple Squeezer, it's an amazing accelerator device that they continue to add on to. They put a SD card in there. They put extra memory. You don't no longer for this is for your Apple II GS. For those of you who don't know, and so I was in Amsterdam and I just contacted him and I said, hey, look, I'm here. Would love to meet you. And oh, by the way, if you had an extra Apple Squeezer, I'd love to buy one from you right
Yeah.
here while I'm here. I know you have none posted on your website. And so I met him for coffee at Starbucks right in Amsterdam.
Nice.
And he brought me an Apple Squeezer. I gave him PayPal right there and then and there. No shipping, um, no taxes, no nothing. And
Yeah.
but really the conversation was great. I posted about that on our Apple II enthusiasts group
Yep.
back in the day, back in January. But that got me thinking. I said, every time I talk to someone, I'm like, where are they in the world, and
Uh-huh.
where do I travel the world, and if we have a good rapport, I don't just want to visit anybody, but if I have a good rapport with somebody, I say, hey, you want to meet up for a coffee, right? So that's kind of how it started, and Nick was Van. I'm gonna massacre his name, but Van
Will do.
Schlusen, Nick Van Schlusen, but he was very gracious, and like I said, he told me his story. I learned a lot about him, what he does for work, and I won't share any of that information, but it was, and obviously a lot of the folks that do retro computing, not me, but a lot of people that do retro computing are in some sort of information technology, coding,
Hmm.
CS, and so he's in that field, and I learned a lot about what he did, and it was just very cool to meet somebody, outside of the United States, so on and so forth, and that was really great. I mean, I'll tell you, and like I said, all it took was an instant message, and I had messaged with him in the past, and we had got a rapport going. And I said, you want to meet for coffee? So that was the first time that had happened this year. It was completely amazing and a lot of fun. And like I said, it got me thinking. So the next encounter was close to home, right? So again, there's a guy named Evan in New Jersey, and Evan, and people probably know Evan. He's the individual who built the
Lego.
life-size Lego. Evan. I know you
Yeah.
do.
He's great.
So Evan was looking for some help with he was rebuilding his childhood Apple IIe Platinum, and he was
Hmm.
looking for certain things, and so I said, and he was looking to trade things, or he was looking to sell things to get the money to buy the other things. And I said,
Yeah.
look, I said, look, you're in New Jersey, I'm close by. I may have some of these things that you want. And I'm more than happy to trade them for you, right?
Hmm.
Wasn't really. I was just looking to help him out, and he said, "Why don't you stop by my house?" And the best part of stopping by his house was, I mean, look, we traded. I got some things. Actually, some of the things I got, you have in your inventory right now, Hav. But I got some things, whether it be with some floppy drives, some controller cards,
Hmm.
whatever. He has his platinum and some other things. But the best part of that visit was I got to see his life-size Lego,
Yeah.
and it was I can't remember. It's a Chevy V8 engine. I can't
Yeah, I
remember.
heard about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's red, and I mean, but he built it over within COVID. It was like he said it took like 18 to 20 months to build during COVID,
Yeah.
and like I said, it was amazing. And he has it running. He built it. He
Hmm.
wrote the code that ran the Lego in Apple Basic.
Hmm.
And if I remember correctly, he's running it not on he's running on an Apple clone. He's running it on the
Laser 128.
Laser 128.
Yeah,
You know,
because
yeah,
he has a lot of those. Yeah,
yeah. So I got to see his whole setup, completely amazing. And I
yeah.
know that he right now has a bunch, not a bunch. I think he's got 3 or 4 of those Lego complete Lego kits for sale. I don't know if anybody wants them. I actually said to him I'd be interested in one, maybe. I just because they're just cool, and
Yeah, they're
I saw
cool.
what he did. I don't know that I would have the time to do what he did, and I don't know that I have the patience to do what he did.
Yeah,
But what an amazing experience. So again, it's one of these things. It just keeps building. You go, God, these people are so neat. And
yeah,
you want to meet them, and you want to get to know these folks and what they do. And so, and he's not in the IT field. I think I don't know what he does per se. I think he's some sort of teacher or
yeah.
professor, but I don't know what he teaches. But not sure if it's in the IT field. But again, so then the last, this most latest trip, so I'll tell you the 2 stories on this latest trip.
Hmm.
So everybody knows about Israel, and there's a lot going on there. But every once in a while, my business takes me to Israel. And last May of 2023, I woke up in the morning. I don't sleep sometimes. It was like a Saturday morning, and it was like, I don't know, 4:30 or 5 a.m. And someone had posted on the site that you're the administrator of, the Apple II enthusiast site. And they were looking for some help. And you know me, I love my Apple IICs, just like you. You and I have that in common. And this person was having a hard time getting actually the device you were just showing. This person was having an issue trying to get the Apple IIc to boot to the floppy EMU from Steve Chamberlain, right? Big mess of wires.
Yeah.
So he posted about it, and I'm looking at his pictures, and I replied to it on the post. Next thing I know, he's replying back like real time, and I'm like, okay. So I moved it over to Messenger.
Yep.
And it was kind of crazy, right? I was like, and literally within an hour, I had him up and running with his FEMU.
Nice.
And we were 7,000 miles away. So I got to know this guy. The gentleman's name, the guy's name is Rami. Well, I won't know last names, but Rami. And then I looked at him like, wow, that guy must be in Israel. And like I said, hey, I get to Israel every once in a while. Now, obviously, this is before the stuff that happened in October, so I hadn't been there for a while. But and I said, next time I'm in Israel, I'd love to meet up with you. I'd love to see you. Blah, blah, blah. So time goes on, and it's interesting. After a while of talking, to him for a couple months, he invited me to join. There's an Israeli retros group on Facebook, very very similar to our big Apple II enthusiast group. They invited me to join. It mostly is all in Hebrew.
Of course,
I struggle at times to with my broken Hebrew to text, but I get through it. But it was so. But that site, that's pretty much dedicated to all retro. It's a small country. They whatever retro they can get their hands on, right? So
it's
everything. But it's such a cool. They have a monthly newsletter that they PDF. They post on PDF. So pretty cool.
Nice.
So I got to be friendly with him, and I was texting, and I post stuff every once in a while. I would post stuff to our bigger forum, and then I would then go back and I would post it to their forum. And again, I got a little bit of a following there, and and got a little bit of a rapport there. And then just I don't know, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, another guy named David posted again Apple IIc. So you'll know very quickly that my first Apple. For this full disclosure, in 1984, my parents, I begged my parents to replace my TI 99 with an Apple II, and I got an Apple IIc back in 1984. So my first Apple that I owned, not programmed on, but owned, was an Apple IIc. So again, he's trying to get this thing up and running. It's very yellowed, and but it was an international version built in Ireland, and it had all the 6 codes for all the different 6 or 8 countries on the back. It couldn't figure out which one it was, but it didn't matter. So we're talking back and forth. So I said, hey, did you do the peak and figure out which ROM version it was? And so he comes back. He goes, no. So I told him, and he comes out 255. So we're talking back and forth. And I said, look, this is on the enthusiast site. He needed some help there, and then he moved over to the Israeli site, and I saw him working out there. So I'm like, okay. So he needed advice on retrobrighting, And I said, you got to be careful in the Israeli sun, but he has, because that it's a desert, right? So
Yeah, it's
it'll happen a
yeah,
lot
good
faster.
son.
Well, it's good sun, but got to be careful, right, Javier? I gave him some advice on yeah. So, well, you saw my question. It was like, I don't know, a week or two ago, where I went to the enthusiast site because I didn't know. He asked me about, it's a PAL machine, and he was trying to figure out how to get the color working on it. I'm like, I don't know. It's a PAL machine. I'm not European. I don't know how to make that work. And then Jose Luis came back, and he answered the question. You answered the question. So a lot again, these people are so friendly. That is what it's all. So this is what I'm talking about. This is what it's all about, Javier. It's all about camaraderie over something that we all share and enjoy. And so, like, I asked the question on behalf of him, and people from Spain and people from China and people from the U.S. all they were all kind of chiming in and trying to help, and that's all it was. So obviously, and then it's interesting. I hooked him up with Plowman, A2 Heaven, for those of you who don't know, A2Heaven.com, because he can't get the original color adapter. It's almost near impossible to find. Right?
Oh yeah. The PAL, they're very difficult to get. Yeah.
PAL to color adapter is it's very difficult to find. And I hooked him up with Plowman, and Plowman is actually sending him in the next couple of days an A2 VGA. Yeah. So guys, anybody that needs color output for their Apple IIc, Plowman has them. A2 Heaven. So he's amazing. And so David was asking me. He says, "Hey, look, I'm trying to get the Hebrew language ROMs. I'm trying to get." And I said, "Well, I said, look, I can burn those for you, and I can burn the 4X ROMs as well, and the ROM 4X." And he goes, what do you want for those? I'm like, I said, I don't know. I'm not looking for any money. I said, a cup of coffee. The actual EEPROMs cost $1 each, right? I'm not, I'm not going to go to Israel and say I want like $10 per ROM. I mean, no, that's not ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So I went to his apartment. I gave him the ROMs, and he gave me a cup of coffee, and we had a whole conversation. Again, it was all about camaraderie. I have some pictures. If I can, how do I share my screen, Javier?
I think there's a present over there.
Oh, there it is. Present. Yep. Look at that. So let me see. Share screen. Share screen. No, it's denying. I don't know how.
I'm not sure.
Let's see. I was trying to share my screen. I maybe should have tried this beforehand, but I wanted to share some pictures. Well, I'll just say that I have some pictures, and if I can figure out how to share my screen before we're done, he was, he posted something, after I helped him. And it was just pretty cool. It was just, again, it's just very cool. Let me see. Did I share my screen?
No.
Okay. I don't know. There might be a problem. I have to restart Chrome. If I do that,
I'm not sure.
Okay. So he posted. So after he installed. So on Saturday he installed the ROMs, the EEPROMs, which I was hoping they worked. I didn't test them. I was doing them as I ran out the door to the airport, and I burned them all. Like, I hope they work. But he posted on the Israeli site, and he also sent the picture to me in Messenger. He had a picture of his screen of the Apple IIc, and he spelled out, "Thank you, Jonathan," and then he wrote it in Hebrew, "Thank you, Jonathan." Hebrew. So you could see that everything was working, and then he showed me a picture that the ROM 4X was working. So look, again, it's all about just kind of camaraderie. Yeah, there are a lot of folks on our sites, right? I mean, they come from all different backgrounds. They come from all different nationalities, all different political views, all different everything, right? And what I would say is, I'm friendly with all different kinds of folks. Yeah. And I don't care about your political views, your religion, where you are in the world, because it's not about that. It's only about this, the retro computing world. So exactly. And for me, that's what it's about. So the last story, coming back to Rami. So that I met Rami on Thursday evening he organized a retro meetup
Yeah.
And I think you saw the picture. I posted that picture on the Apple II enthusiasts site. So he tried to get a couple more people, but there was 4 of us.
Very nice.
And so there's a guy named Nir in Israel, and he's kind of funny. He's the administrator of this retro computing site. So he's kind of like you, but he's also kind of like Joe in the fact that the guy is. He's like he's an electrical wizard, like literally.
Crazy guy, yeah.
So he's kind of a smash up, but it was a pleasure meeting him. It was amazing. But Rami hosted us. He has a beautiful house in the suburbs of Tel Aviv.
Mm-hmm.
He brought in pizzas and salads, and we had beer and coffee, and then we went to his man cave, and his man cave. Now look, the houses aren't as big as they're in the States. Yeah. I wish I could show the picture, but no worries. Maybe I'll even post a couple more pictures on the Apple
later.
But amazing pictures, right? Like his man cave. It's not big, but he's got every toy, and I say every toy. He's got NES, Atari, Super NES. He's got Mac. He's got a MacBook 128. He's got a MacBook, not a MacBook, a Mac Pro, compact Mac 128, compact Mac SE 30. Mm-hmm. By the way, his crown jewel, an Apple IIc.
Of course,
that one's the most prominent. It's prominent. He boots it up. He's got Plowman's A2 VGA adapter. Again, which is how I met him, right? That's the connection. Every time I see someone in need of help with their Apple IIc, I kind of start typing.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm a little crazy for the Apple IIc. I don't know why, but
I don't know either.
Well, you too. You have the same issue. That's kind of how you and I met, right? If you want to go back in time to, I don't know, December of 2022, you and I started talking, and it was really around some of these items, and it started with the Apple IIc. So again, and you and I mean, we're friends. How many projects do we have going together?
Yeah,
right now?
yeah.
It's so.
And that's all about that. Like you say, it's about camaraderie. It doesn't matter nowadays that everybody's getting all isolated and everybody's against everybody. We should do the other way. We should do it, bring us together. The computer bring us together, and it doesn't matter how you think or how your background is or where even you live. It's all about having fun, because this life is about having fun. Not about fighting,
Look, it's interesting, and I won't name people, but there are people that you and I both know together,
mm-hmm.
right? That have different political views than us. And what I will tell you is I've had some I've met people through this, and then they've asked me questions maybe about some of the things that I like, just because of how my Facebook profile is, and they ask me questions. And we'll have dialogue. And it's not about trying to convince anybody about my way or their way. But the connection is through this and through these retro.
Exactly, having a conversation. And we can always get into the same place, and into a nice middle ground, just because the computer is the one who's joining us. We wouldn't be talking even if we didn't met because of the computers, the Apple II and the retro stuff. So
and you know what? We're all here. So you talk about the computers, but why do we have an affinity for this computer or this Apple II computer? Well, the Apple II computer changed the world.
Yeah, and changed our worlds.
I contend that Apple II and Atari changed the world, right? If you think about where Steve Wozniak was before he went to Apple or started Apple, he was at Atari. And Atari was the first gaming console, first home kind of video thing. They made Apple changed the world. And the Apple II actually changed the world, and that's what binds us together with the group that we're in. Look, we're in other groups. I'm in the Macintosh enthusiasts and so on and so forth. And I think the Apple II enthusiast group is probably the largest of the Apple groups that I see on Facebook in terms of numbers, in terms of total number of people, and people flock there because it is what changed the world. I truly believe that. And so then it starts the conversation, because we all come there and we all have these conversations, and we're all trying to do the things, all of our projects, right? Everybody, I got this Apple, I'm trying to get it up and running, so on and so forth. And that's it's so much fun. It's so much fun to have the conversations.
Yeah, it's all about having fun and enjoy the platform, enjoy our own experiences, and also share what we're doing and what we're trying to like these projects, it's fun for me, but it wouldn't be fun if people wouldn't like it and wouldn't give me feedback.
Well, speaking of the project that's in your hand, right? I'm friend. Right. I love that. I mean,
Hmm.
so you know which one I have. I have one that's the anodized aluminum
Yep.
stamped aluminum, right? And I know the guy who made that, and his website retro6502.com, Michael Mendelson.
Okay.
And remember, and I'm like, okay, well, Javier, his is very nice, but it's very, very costly and expensive, and most
Yep.
people, the masses aren't going to pay six, seven, $800, right, for
Right.
something.
Right.
But look, I know him very well from other projects, right?
Hmm.
And and um, and I connected you with him, and look how amazing like the camaraderie was very quickly, right? You
Yeah.
guys got together. I
We
connected
help
you.
each other.
You
Yeah.
two got together, and now you're going to produce that product that everybody can get at a
Hmm.
price point that most people will want to pay.
Hmm.
And he had no problem with it, right?
Yeah.
Because really, it's like again, it's not about making money. No, who's doing this for making money?
Nobody really makes money out of this.
No,
And if somebody thinks they can, they're crazy.
right, exactly. I mean, look, do a couple people make some money? Like, look, I'm not going to. I mean, there are the big mess of wires that
Yeah.
that
Well,
product
but
changed that changed the Apple II retro computing.
right. Right.
Does that make does big mess of wires make money? Yeah, but it's an amazing product, and we should all want that product
Yep.
because it makes our lives easier. But yeah, but what you're doing is enhancing that product. So for those of you who don't know, I mean, I think you were talking about it before. You are. I mean, do you have it? Do you have the actual mocked up version? The whole
Yeah.
thing?
Actually, this is a very good segue on starting talking about this. So let me change my camera.
Yeah, you take
Um,
me down to low. Yeah.
yeah. No. Yeah. Maybe.
Yep. There you go.
All right. Real fast. Yeah. So like John said, I did this for because they told me, he and other friends told me, hey, listen, they're doing these. Would you be able to do that? And I was like, I don't know. And I said, well, I'm doing 3D stuff right now, and that doesn't look that difficult. And I also did the 3D clear version. Remember the clear case that I did for the drives? So I had original file already. So I say maybe I can just modify it and see. And I did just for fun a hole over here, and I did the holes over here, and it looked good. So I was like, let me try that, and I printed one, and from there it began to grow, and I've been, I can show you a lot of the, I got tons of them. It's an evolution of this, and I can tell you this has been it's also not only educational, but it's also fun for me, and I'm learning a lot. Like, as you see, this is actually the printer that I use. It prints in several colors, so I learned how to do two color printing. That it's seamless. This, if you go closer, you will see that it looks like printed, but it's actually 3D filament in there.
It's embedded, right?
It's embedded. So the thing is that I started doing the small letters, and of course that won't do it because it doesn't have that resolution. But something, and I learned that some things fade, some things don't print very well. But overall, you got to use, this is white, and white. I thought white was gonna stand out more than other colors. No, actually, it kind of fades, and this is kind of beige, and it looks a lot better. So I started doing that, and I was doing just, you see the holes over here, because this was supposed to be only the front, and then you use it like a normal one. But now I realize, well, if I put these holes, that means that you gotta screw it to the drive, and no, there's no drive in back here, because this is just the home. So these holes are not good, and then at the same time, this is no good because I have nothing to hold it in the back. Because if I take out the drive, I don't have the bottom, I don't have the top. It's empty completely. So I have to create some kind of base. So I had to create a base. So this
Amazing.
is
It's
this is
amazing.
the base, and I am basing the design on the one that Michael Mendelson did. So the buttons over here, the LEDs and the buttons, and then the SD card. I think this SD card is bigger, and as you can see, these also still have the holes. So these are different iterations. Some of the things that they're not very, they're kind of rough because I just did it to make sure that it works. And little by little, I fit things in there, and I begin to play with it. As you can see in the latest ones, I have rounded edges instead of square edges here.
Very
And
nice.
then I found that I wanted to put continue LEDs directly over here like the original one. But the problem is if I want to bring an LED from the emulator,
Yeah.
I have to solder it, and it's very small. I have to solder these two little things over here. I have to actually solder over there. So it's very difficult. It's very small. Maybe you cannot see it over here. Let me.
What I can tell you is your eyes are like my eyes. There's no way you can do it without a magnifying glass or a microscope.
Exactly, and that's a problem. That let me see. Yeah, here's my other camera. So let's do this. I can zoom with this camera, and this a little bit better. So um, now you can see that with better resolution, and I gotta put a solder from here to here to get an LED for the status light, and then for the power light, I gotta do here and here. So they're very small and very difficult to solder. Let me. I think I got my. I don't know where it is. Hold on. Oh, here it is. So I got my zoom. So as
Yep,
you
there
can
it is.
see,
Yeah, we can see it
it's
now, Javier. Great.
yeah, it's really small, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I know it's very small because I was investigating doing it. If you remember, about a year ago or maybe half a year
Hmm.
ago, I was playing around with the same concept. I took an old 3.5-inch shell before you introduced your 3.5 3D printed one, and I dremeled it out and so on and so forth, and I did the same thing. And I was looking, I'm like, oh, that's a tough solder.
Yeah. So what I do is again, there's several iterations on fitting. Most of the things are fitting. So I figured out, I'll fit it over here. The cable goes back here, and then the card reader will go from here. And the problem is that the one that I have is too long, but I already bought a shortened ones, and I'll talk to you about this later. But this goes over here, and then it connects over here, so you can use the front. Then I finally solved the problem of the LEDs because it took me like 3 or 4 weeks just trying to get the signal from here, trying to put like a switch or some kind of thing that actually will take it and clip it on top of it, but I couldn't. So what I finally found is this um, foldable. Because I also got a straight one, but yeah, I don't know where I got it, but it's there's another version that it's hard plastic and it's very difficult to modify and move. So now I got this here that I will just put inside this slot, and then over here I'm gonna have something that I'm actually printing, and it's something like this that you just put over here, and then just put a slot over here, and it will. Oh, you cannot see it very well, but yeah, you put it,
But
and
you're
this goes
basically
to here.
you're creating a light pipe as opposed to doing
Yeah,
soldering, right?
exactly.
And
And
you're doing that so because the majority of look, I mean, I taught myself how to solder in the last 18 months, but
yeah,
the majority of folks, and I'll be the first to admit that solder point is way too small for even me, and I
yes,
think I've become pretty good at it. Most people are not adept at that, don't have the equipment to do that.
right.
And if they buy a kit like this, they want to make it you want to make it as easy for them as possible.
Yeah, exactly. So that's exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make this easy, and I'm trying to make this as easy as that people can just do it themselves without really knowledge, too much knowledge of the electronics. Just it's going to be just connect cables, and connect cables over here, and then screw over here. I'm gonna provide 4 screws, so you screw this over here, and it doesn't move. And then you put this in. Then I am waiting for from China to send me the little PCBs with 4 buttons over here. So they're just gonna put the 4 buttons over here, and there's some screw holes. So you screw it over here. Then the screen also, you just slide it in here. There's 2 little things that hold it, and just slide over there, leave it there, and you're basically done. You just take the card reader and put it in there, and it will just stay there, and you can take your card from the front. So everything is going to be very self done, and you can use an original metal one like this, or I'm talking about recreating it also in 3D printing. So people that don't have this available, we can print out one for them. So if they want it, we'll provide it for them too.
So Javier, so the only thing that I would say is the only thing that I think is missing. So go back, put the that back, the drive back, the case. So that the original drive has the bottom cover. Are you so with the lip there? Are you gonna? Oh, that's right. You're 3D printing.
There you go. 3D printed too.
Okay. I forgot that you had 3D printed that. So coming back full circle, I know you gave credit to Michael Mendelson, who's been helping you, but I just want to make sure that we also give props, because this original idea, the original idea came out of, and I can't remember the guy's name. There was a guy in Australia on Apple Store in 2022 who originally posted this and created one for himself, and then I think he created like 100 kits.
Yeah,
and the kits were expensive. He put all the kits together, with the LCD display and everything. And basically, it was bring your own FEMU.
Mm-hmm.
But he did it. It was a one-time deal. I think it was probably. We all know that some of these projects are exhausting. We can ask our other friends that do some of these major projects, like the backlit Apple IIc keyboards. These projects get exhausting at times.
Oh yeah.
So he did it once. He did it once, and then he threw out all of his files onto GitHub, which was great. I mean, it was great. It was great of him to do that.
Yeah.
But then Michael Mendelson took it and he started doing these custom ones with the anodized aluminum stamped faces, which are great. I have one of his.
They're great, but they're expensive.
They're very expensive, and quite honestly, I have it, and I love it, and I'll never give it up.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that yours and the ones you're creating, I mean, and if anybody wants to take a look at what Javier is creating, if you take a look at this face, and then you take the original Apple IIe or Apple II disc 2 face, it has almost the same texture. It has that plastic texture.
Exactly. And
this is
I'm looking at the messages. Jeremy says that he has one, but he has no case. That's the same case a lot of people are in. They have an EMU, but they don't have a case for it, and this is the solution.
I'll also say, look, by the way, the sticker on there. So we got to give Geekenspiel. Yep. So Javier and I last year at VCF Midwest. We went out to dinner with a group of people, and we all sat at different tables, people we never even met before. Again, coming back to the camaraderie story, right? Mm-hmm. And we sat down, and this guy came in we never met. It was myself, you, Eric, and someone else was sitting. And this guy sat down with us. We didn't know who he was. And we started talking to him, and it was the proprietor of Geekenspiel, and he does all these retro stickers for the entire community, not just Apple, but the entire retro community. And I think you were doing this, and you were looking for stickers for your Clear Face Disc 2 project, and you contacted. Is it Steve? I think it's Steve, right?
Yeah, I think it's Steve. Yes,
Steve from Geekenspiel. And you contacted him, and he recreated these 3D stickers. I think they're a little puffy, aren't they?
Apple logos, yeah. So they're very nice.
And again, it's all about camaraderie. It's just about striking up a conversation and asking people what they do and how they do it, and so on. So again, that's what it's all about, and that's how these projects get to where they get to.
Yeah, and coming back to that, this is the thing with Michael. I was chatting with him the other day, and he began to tell me, "Hey, listen, I got also another idea for this, and I said, well, I show him what I was doing, and he told me, well, I think there's a better or easier way to do this. And he told me, what about putting the, and where's my emulator? Let me show you
It's
what
right in
he's
front of you,
done.
isn't it?
I just lost it. Oh, right in front of me. I'm
Right
an
in front
idiot.
of you.
So, so he told me, what you gotta do is you just gotta put it like this, and put it in front of the emulator. No, not like this.
Sideways, right?
Like this, sideways. Yeah. And then what happens is that you have the buttons aligning. You see, the buttons are here. They align over here. Then the top button over here, and the light over here. The only one that we're missing is the power light, and most people don't need it. So he says it's okay. So I redesigned it, a second version, because I still want and like the original one, but I did a second version that doesn't need too many cables and too many things and
Pipes.
those tubes. So this is a new version that I'm still working on it, but it's about to get ready.
I think, and Javier, I like both versions. I mean, yeah, you
Yeah,
know me, you know me, I'll buy almost anything from you
of
because
course.
I do. but I would say to you, that second version you're working on, if you get that to work, that literally is a plug and play. People will be able to drop
Yeah,
in their Emo, literally drop it in, put it in place, and go. It'll
and that's
work.
the intention. I was thinking about they take it like this and just put it in. There's like a little thing that you slide it in here, and it stays there. You see? Well,
Yeah,
this is not, of course, like that. And then there's some buttons. Where are my buttons? Here. So these are long buttons that go in here, and then when you click on them, they will just click directly on the EMU. Of course, you got to put the buttons from this side, from the inside. But I was having this problem that this is too small, and when I got another version over here, but when you try to put things in here, it gets a little bit difficult to do that. So today I just finished this new version of it, and of course I just printed the back part,
sure.
and it has a hinge now. So what you do is this part over here. So you put it like this, and this will move up here.
So
And then
let you slide it in, and then you push, and you slide,
exactly,
and
you
then
slide it in here, and then you put it down, and it's gonna be on the front.
that's
So
amazing.
you
Like I
move it
said,
like this.
I know you're part designer, but you're part engineer because there's no way you're just doing
Yep.
this without having a little bit of engineering brain to do it. You have
Yeah,
to have the math.
exactly. And then and I'm what I say, I'm a problem solver, and I love to solve problems. So that's what I'm trying to do. I think about how to solve this problem in a way that everybody can do it, because I'm not going to design things the way I want or I like. I'm going to design it in a way I'm thinking about the user, not myself, and that's a big difference. And that's why I do these kind of things,
Yeah.
so anybody can do it. After I fix this, anybody will be able to do it easier.
Yeah, I mean, look, you really are you are when you have Hav Master as your name, you really are a master when it comes to design, Javier. I mean, I enjoy watching your posts, and I think for those of you who don't know, Javier posted on the Apple II Enthusiast several days ago, 3 or 4 or 5, even 5 different projects that he's working on. I don't know if you have them at your
Yeah,
hands,
I got it.
but you've got you have the clear Apple II joysticks, the remakes,
Yep.
You have the system saver there. That's pretty cool. I don't know. Do you have the clear ones and the frosted ones? Those are also.
I got a frosted one,
Oh yeah,
and the clear ones are going to be revealed when Mac Effects comes out.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I gave away your.
Yeah, I just gave away my Thunder, but yeah, these are joysticks that I created, and I'm selling them on my store. And these are special editions.
So I'm not going to tell everybody. I'm not telling everybody you're going to do this for them. But for those of you, I did say I have a Mac Effects Piano Black Apple IIe.
Yeah.
And I said, Javier, I said, I love your Apple II joystick creation. I would love to have a black one. And Javier created a black one for me and sent it to me. And I tested it out. The thing is unbelievable. It works.
Yeah, it works. The problem with the black ones, and I haven't put them in my store, is that the black ones, when you do them, if there's any little issue with it, a little thing, this
Yeah,
one you can actually just sand it,
yeah, you
and it
don't
looks
see it.
beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Look, I asked you to make one for me.
Yeah,
I would never say anything to you, but yeah, you're right. The black, there, you can see the imperfections in the black.
yeah,
But for
and you
me,
cannot clean them, so that's a problem. And
yeah,
if people want them, I'm gonna have to tell them, because they will get it, and they have imperfections, and some
I
people don't like it. So I don't want
yeah, no, no,
to.
you should. Look, I asked you to do it for me as a favor, but it's
Yeah, of
beautiful.
course.
I love it, and placed next to the piano black Mac Effects 2E case, it looks really, really nice. You should tell everybody about the switches because that's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, this is cool. This is the switches that I did instead of the run that the original Apple II joysticks use. That actually have one of these.
And they fail. They fail
Not
invariably.
only they fail, but the way they fit, they're very good and everything, but the way they fit in here to recreate it, it's very difficult, and it in 3D printing filament, it breaks.
Yeah,
It
well,
looks too much stress.
they're like little forks, right, that hold it in place, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, yeah, and you need more than um the switch. You need like a little like two more springs,
Prongs. Yeah,
a
yeah.
big spring and a very small spring. So that's why I decided to go for this, and I think this was a great idea. So
Those are the recreation apps Matthias, right?
right,
Switches.
these are the Matthias ones, and these
Do you
are the
use
ones that
do
we're
you use
using. Eric
do you,
is asking, "What the heck is this?"
uh, do you use the clicky ones or do you use the silent ones?
I think they're the clicky ones.
Yeah, yeah, they're the ones that
Yeah,
on the Mac Effects 2C
yeah,
keyboards. Yeah, they're the
exactly. And then I did these color ones, and I did gray ones. But you know what? People like a lot more the color ones. So I am not offering the gray ones. Although if they ask me, I can put it in. And I like it because these are so easy to use, and people don't have to push too hard on this.
yeah. By the way, I mean, I mean, the play on those. Like I said, I was playing. You know what my favorite game is? What's my favorite game, Javier?
Um, is it
It's
Karateka?
blue. No, no, no. Well, that's one of them. But the game that I go to test everything because every joystick is because it moves in all directions and it uses both buttons. Is Load Runner.
Oh, Lord Runner. Yes, you're right. Yeah, I use
I
Hard Hat
posted,
Mac.
look, Eric 2C, Apple 2 Eric posted Load Runner. He knows my
Yeah,
favorite.
Lord Runner. You're right.
But yeah, but I played Load Runner with your joystick. I played it with other sticks.
Yeah,
I played it with a Mach 3, and while the Mach 3 is my favorite retro joystick, I'm
yes,
gonna say that out
I
loud.
agree.
Your joystick, this recreation, and by the way, I think you're also working on. You and I are working on maybe a Mach 3 for 3D
Yeah,
printed
yep,
joystick. Maybe it might happen someday.
maybe.
But but full circle, I used this joystick and the play was amazing and I really did. I mean, I couldn't really feel a difference in terms of it being like new, modern versus retro. It really felt like the retro feel of the Apple II joystick.
Yeah, that's why I like it. Yes, you're right. And I already sent several out, and I'm expecting people to send me some reviews or anything, but nobody has been able to. So
Well, I can
I'm just trying.
send you a review. I have the black one. I can send a
Oh,
review.
do it. Yeah, do it or do a
When
review.
when I get back from this overseas trip, I will
Yeah, yeah,
I will use my requisite Load Runner game, and post about it. But I will post, but it will be the black one. So if people then start asking you for the black one, don't blame me.
yeah.
Or Eric, I think Apple II Eric can post about it too, right? He has the
Yeah, and Mike Hoskin is here too. So thanks, guys, for being checking out. I honestly, I didn't wasn't intending to got anybody or something like that, but I just wanted to have a chat with John and show these things, and then people can see these later or whatever. So, but thank you for being here. This is the last one I want to show just quickly. This is the original one that I did before trying to do this one because I didn't want to.
That's by the way, that's my favorite, Javier. You know why? Because
Yeah,
that matches the Apple IIc. Again, just
that's
coming full
right.
circle.
Mine too. And actually, it also can be used with a Macintosh, because the Macintosh also uses this, and this is platinum.
And the
So
2GS.
Yeah, and the GS, of course.
And
And
by the way, and look how amazing that looks with the you have the original connector wire. You don't have
yeah.
it's not a makeshift wire. It literally looks like
Well,
an Apple II product.
funny you mentioned that, but I'm also working on trying to recreate this connector, the DB19. So I'm talking to people because I already have done it in 3D, but 3D is not good enough. And this is an original one that somebody gave me
Got
a cut one, so I just kept it just because I didn't want it to throw it away. But this is recreated. This is PLA, so
PLA.
it's like rubber, and I basically want to do cables, brand new cables, but they look like the original ones.
Yeah, well, those DB19s are very, very hard to find. So if you
Yeah,
can,
so we're gonna see what we can do about it. And if you find them, they're very expensive, so I don't want to add cost, more price to the cost of making this
yeah, I
thing.
mean, look, yeah, you and I played around with those for a while. You sent me some to try and mock up with solder.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult to do. So there's got to, and you and I, there's that board out there. There's a DB19 to 20 board out there, and
Mhm.
I think if we can just get the the PCB of the portion of the board that is the
Yeah.
19 pin connector, you can put it right behind that
Yep.
uh, with the pins already in it, and we're good to go. I think
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
yeah.
But yeah, those are part of the things that I'm working on. That's why, some people say, "Hey, what are you doing?" It's a lot of little research and development, and I don't want to come out with a half done product. I want it to be nice, and I want it to be really well done, and that's why it's taking a little bit.
So
But I think,
what are your thoughts, Javier? Are you going to sell that? I mean, obviously you're going to sell it. You're not going to do it for
yeah.
free. But are you going to sell it as a kit? And are you going to offer different options? Are you going to offer a kit just the plastics?
Thanks
Are
for
you
telling me.
offer,
Yes, I am thinking about selling them as kits, and I'm gonna give a couple of options. Of course, I'm gonna offer this one, the original large one, but this one as a kit will have a lot of cables, a lot of little things that you gotta add, and it's gonna be a little bit more difficult to put together than this one. This is basically almost just slide in, connect, and go. So this is gonna be maybe the good. It's gonna be cheaper than this one because it's of course smaller. It uses less things, but also people are asking about the bottom. So I'm thinking about how to bundle things together, or maybe make packages or something like that. So if you want just the front, it's a price. Then the front and the bottom also we need to think of a price. And that's another thing. You see this I have to make holes down here.
yeah.
So when you put it together, the holes that go through the case, it also hold the front.
Yeah,
And
and like I guess the last question is, if somebody wanted, obviously this would be more custom, but if somebody wanted to say, look, I don't want to even do anything, I want you to send me a fully operational unit. Would you make one for somebody?
yeah, but again, I gotta go and buy the floppy
Yeah,
unit,
of
and I
course.
gotta put it together, and it takes time, and it takes all effort. So yeah, of course. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna have to start doing that. I'm gonna do the different combinations, and you're right. It has to be kit only, kit with other parts, and the last one would be put together. The thing already working. So
Yeah, and I think, look, I think that the second version you showed, the one where people can, because the most people don't want to do all that work. That
right.
second one you showed, where the slide in, I think that's the one will be your. This is my opinion. I think
Yeah.
that will be your fastest seller. I think.
Of course. Yeah, and,
Um,
and, and I agree. This is more the same as the original one that
yeah,
they came in, but yeah, it's more complicated and it needs more things because it has a lot of extra parts. And this one is just slide in and go. Just put there's 5 things that you gotta put in here, and then the connect the SD card reader and connect the cable, and you're
as long
gone.
as the Apple sticker from Geekenspiel fits on the second face, the
Of course,
second one,
yeah, it
then,
does.
then it's going to be good to go. I don't think that, from my perspective, I would love either one of them.
Yeah,
And I have so many projects going right now.
yeah,
There are some projects I wish would just drop and go, drop in and go,
yeah.
because I can't get to them all. So I'm endorsing both, but I would also say that I would endorse the drop in, as well.
No, I agree. I agree. That's what I'm trying to do. That's why I'm taking time, because I wanted, again, I want this to be really an easy for anybody. I don't want it to people to be, oh, you got to solder, oh, you got to do this, and and if they break something, I don't want to for them to be able to break anything. So that's another thing. I wanna make it a little bit strong, so when they get it, if they have a little issue, they don't break things. So those are the things
Yeah.
that I keep doing, so it comes out with a very good product.
And for those of you, I'm going to shout out to the printer, because I have to buy myself one of these. It's the bamboo X1 printer,
It's
right?
one carbon, yeah. It's the best printer in the world, I'm telling you.
Because I know what you had before. You had what
I had an Ender,
Ender, yeah, Ender 3D, right?
and again,
Reality.
3D prints are good, but the bamboo is just click and go, and it will give you the best quality of everything every time.
Right. So I'm right there with you, and I can't wait to get mine. Just, it's a very expensive printer, but at some
It
point
is.
I'm gonna have to get it, because I just see what you're making, and
But yeah, exactly. You can do several colors, and so you can see, not every time. That's the other thing. Not everything and every time comes up perfect. So sometimes you gotta see what's happening over here. So
it has to do with it has to do with cleaning the printer
maybe,
and stuff, right? Yeah.
yeah, and this takes like 4 or 5 hours to do it face down. So when it's done and it comes out like this, it's a little bit disappointing. So you gotta spend another 4 or 5 hours to print the next
Right,
one. So
exactly.
yep, yep.
So, hey, so I have some things I've been working on, not working on, but testing for others. So I have a couple shots. So first off, the FujiNet with the web browsing and the Kontiki, I can't wait to get home and try that. I don't know if you got it to work, Javier, but that to me,
Yeah,
if that,
I gotta order one. Mine is not working very well, and I've been talking to them, and I have the European version, and I think they modify it now, and it doesn't do a lot of things
so
that
I
the
have
newest
two.
version does.
I have two of those. I have two of the ones from Spain,
Yeah.
from Tindy. They don't work.
Well, they don't work with the last firmware, and I just updated the firmware, so I think I broke it.
I think you could go back and you can put the old firmware
Yeah, I'm
back.
gonna try that. I haven't been able to, but I'm gonna try that.
Okay. So I need to figure out how if I can
Yeah,
get
because
then and then
FujiNet is a great thing. It has a lot of potential, but they still have a lot of little issues.
well, I think they have too many. They have some offshoots, and I think that the when they come out with some of these things, it really is for the original version. And the guy in Spain that makes them, he every once in a while when they come out with something new, it takes him time to get it working on his. So
Right.
I think he's licensed to do it, but I just don't think it's exactly the same. But I can't wait. That's an amazing that FujiNet. If they get online gaming where
Yeah.
you can play shift and you can play with somebody in Chicago or in Israel
They
or
they actually, I think, are doing it with Atari.
well they're testing it with Atari, but they're going to do cross platform. Even you'll be able to
Yeah.
play 5 cards. I think the first game is going to be 5 card stud poker
Oh wow.
cross platform. You'll be able to play with people that are on FujiNet on Atari. I mean that'll change the world of retro computing. I mean crazy,
Definitely.
right? Crazy. So that's one. I wanted to come back and again give Plowman a shout out. His A2 Heaven and his
Yeah.
new Laron cards. So his Laron clones, which are shipping. I think some people. I think Eric, Apple II Eric, you've gotten yours already, correct? You
Mhm.
can put that in the chat here. But he's shipping those as we speak.
Yeah.
I have two of them coming to me as well. Can't wait to test those. Those are going to be they're a game changer as well. Like
Mhm.
a Liron card for the Apple IIe, the original. You can't get them. They're very scarce, and
Yep.
upwards of $200 if you can find them.
Mhm.
So that's amazing. And the special part about his Liron card is that you can also use it as a Disc 2 for the regular Disc 2 controller, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
a double. It doubles, not at the same time, but it doubles. Then I know there's some people that there's controversy about this one, but the ESP32 soft card. It's the it's the computer inside the computer. It's like the old CPM card or the PC
Mhm.
AE
Yep.
Applied Engineering PC transporter. So Ivo or CVT Retro from that's on our Facebook group.
Yep.
He's the one who invented ESP32 soft card. It emulates NES on your machine, SNES. It emulates a PC. It emulates a Macintosh System 7.1. Like literally, you're pulling up a the Mac OS on an Apple II. It's kind of crazy actually.
It
But
is, yeah.
I love that thing. And by the way, it streams. You can stream music from radio sites.
Wow.
So I'm
Yeah.
very, very impressed with that as well. And then lastly,
Yeah, it's all about having fun. It's all about having fun.
And look, and the last one, and I know that I've said it earlier, but retro6502.com. So Michael Mendelson, you talked a lot about Michael and worked with you on the FEMU case, but he's done amazing work with Bluetooth controllers, right? I would say he created a thing called the Gabe. It's the ultimate Bluetooth gaming device. It plugs into the port of the game port of the Apple IIe or 2C or 2GS. You can connect any Bluetooth controller, anyone. But the best part of it is it has different options built into it. It actually looks like the FEMU. It has the little FEMU screen. You can change things. You can change which buttons do what. And lastly, what I'll say about it is, and the reason he created that was not because he was trying to create that, but he created a Bluetooth Mach 3. I have one right here. Actually. So everybody knows I travel with my Bluetooth. Bluetooth Mach 3. Right here's
beautiful.
There's some buttons here and the charging, USB-C charging. I play with my Virtual too. So he created these, but they only worked with like emulators on your computers. Well, Apple II Eric, who's here with us right today. He said to him, he says, look, I want to use that with my Apple IIe. He said, I don't want to just use it with my Virtual 2. I want to use it with Apple IIe. So what he challenged Michael, and Michael went off and he went off and he developed it, and I don't have a picture of it. I wish I did, but he developed this. It's called the Gabe. I don't know what it stands for, but Ultimate Bluetooth Gaming Device. And this Bluetooth Mach 3 now hooks up to your Apple IIe. And so for those of us that have an Apple IIe in every room, I can't claim that I have that, but maybe I do. I have one that's hooked up.
Almost.
Much to my wife's chagrin, I probably do have one in every room. She gets very upset with me sometimes, but I have it hooked up to a TV, and I play games, but I want to play it wirelessly from the couch, and now I can do that with this this Bluetooth joystick.
Yeah, and DJ Mike is asking if we're going to be at BCF East. No, unfortunately, not me. I don't know you guys. We're going to be at BCF Midwest.
Yeah.
So hopefully you can go over there, Mike. That would be awesome.
Yeah, Mike. Yeah, I was planning on being at VCF East, but since I've been traveling for the last 2 weeks, I can't come home on Friday and then tell my wife I'm going to be going to a retro computer.
You can, but then you won't go back to your house.
Maybe, I think that might happen. So I might want to be home for a little bit. But yeah, I've already have plans to be at VCF Midwest with Javier and others.
We're all going to be there.
Flying in. So we'll have a great time there. And I think, hopefully I'll have something that I've been working on with Joe to display at VCF Midwest. That
would be awesome.
It's a smash up between a PC and an Apple IIe. So hopefully that'll be ready for VCF Midwest in September. Yeah, right?
Cool. Yeah. All right. So I think we covered everything that we needed to.
I think so. Absolutely.
So
Javier, look, I'm dialed in from Germany. It's 2:00 in the morning.
That's what I'm trying to wrap it up, because I need you to go sleep, because I don't want them to tell you something tomorrow at your meeting.
By the way, I have to be I'm up in meetings in about 4 or 5 hours. 5 hours from now, I have to be in meetings. So, but this was a pleasure. I was happy to get together with you today, Javier, and look forward to the next time.
I appreciate it. You were able to be. here. And guys, please just remember to like, share, subscribe, because I'm giving away stuff. Read in my channel. And
All right.
thanks everybody for joining.
1,500 people, 1,500,
Yeah,
1,500
yeah.
followers.
And
Excellent.
I'm gonna give away an Apple IIc and other stuff. So
don't give it to me. Don't give it to me. I have too many of them.
You got too many already.
All right.
All right.
Very good.
Thanks,
Bye,
John.
guys. Bye.
Take care, everybody. Bye.